with its yellow taxis, this might seem a bit like New York, but we're far from there. This is the longest street in the Middle East. Welcome to Tehran, the capital of the Islamic Republic of Iran.
This is a programme unlike the others we've made in the past, in a country that, until now, has been difficult to access.
Salam, Eve. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good to see you.
This is a very crazy place.
It is. It's really busy today, too.
Let's go have a
Do
look.
you want to go for a walk?
Yeah.
Cool.
There's no better place to get a taste of Tehran than here at the Grand Bazaar. Is it always this packed?
It is, especially because it's Thursday. It's the beginning of the weekend in Tehran, so people are out the last day of the week and doing their shopping, grabbing whatever they need, and it's sometimes nice to sort of, I guess, escape over here in these little tunnels and curves. I'm not afraid.
King Ram is a rock singer, a music forbidden not so long ago by the regime. He lived in the United States for several years and came back to Tehran after the election of President Hassan Rouhani in 2013. Since then, the tide here has been slowly turning. The number of authorised concerts has surged, yet performances still need to be sanctioned.
I just felt like it was time for me to come back and finish what I started, where I started it, because, you know, most of my audience is Iranian as well.
چرا قرمزه من وایستادم نفس بگیرم چرا بارون نمیاد یه مشت خرت و پرت تو دستمه
I think one of the best ways to sort of get an idea of the culture here as well is to try a bit of the food. So we have cooked beets over here and cooked lima beans. I'm not a big fan of the beans myself, to be honest. If you like, you can try some, but I say we should try a little bit of the beets.
It's really good.
You like it? Yeah, it's really nice.
So where are we going now?
We should go out for lunch, I'd say.
The history of Iran is a complex one. In 1979, there was a revolution that resulted in the world's first Islamic state. Ayatollah Khomeini took power. He banned Western films, music, and many books, and imposed that women wear the veil. Since then, the West has regarded the country with suspicion, believing it was building nuclear weapons. But in July 2015, Iran made a nuclear deal with world powers, creating the basis for an end to their economic isolation.
How difficult or easy is it to be a musician here in Iran?
It used to be much more difficult back in the day. It's become a bit more easier to sort of get a permit for artists like myself, because over here in Iran, in order to be a musician and be able to perform publicly, you have to go get a permit from the Ministry of Culture.
You actually lived in New York for 7 years?
Yes.
And was that because you couldn't perform your music here?
Well, it wasn't because I couldn't. It was mostly because I had this dream of being this big rock star and going on tour around the world. And I just wanted to share my music with as many people as I could.
And did that kind of coincided with the government changing here? Was that a coincidence, or did you feel like it was a better time to come back?
You know, I think it was a bit of, column A, a bit of column B, a little bit of both. Obviously, the environment has become much more, relaxed, I find.
What about Tehran inspires you then?
Despite the sort of limitations that exist, to me, Tehran is like this sort of new New York. It has like this really intense creative buzz about it, and I think we're at this sort of tipping point too. Before now, with the nuclear deal and opening up the doors with the West, sure enough, in the next several years, we're gonna close this gap, and we're gonna become even more globalized.
This is a cafe, but it's also a place where people can perform. It's run by someone who's actually a playwright, isn't it?
Yeah, no, actually, this is one thing that I love about cafes in Iran is that, it's like a cultural hub. We can actually meet the owner if you'd like, he's a really interesting person.
Hello.
چطوری
Salam.
So this is Sajjad. Yeah, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the cafe?
I set up this cafe with Pega. She's a musician and film actress. Because we realized that each of us had had rich and unique experiences, the sorts of things that you don't read about in books or learn in class. We created this meeting place across a number of floors. Up there, artists can meet each other and exchange experiences.
و تجربه هاشون رو به هم منتقل میکنن.
So this is Behzad, and this is their band, Bomrani. They're gonna play a song for us. They're one of the coolest, in my opinion, coolest bands in Tehran. One of my favorite bands. So.
Despite censorship and Western stereotypes, theatre is a thriving art form in Iran. This is Radaki Hall, the former opera house, where we meet director Ali Rafi's troupe getting ready to perform a tragedy about a national hero.
This theater is about Amir Kabir, and he's a very great person in our history, and it's very good for us to know about this man, and somehow it depends on our historical happening.
With a spectacular setting, the play takes us back to 19th century Iran, where we meet the man known as the country's first reformer and modernizer. Amir Kabir attempted to bring gradual change here before he was murdered. After 50 years in theatre and several of his plays being banned, Ali Rafi now knows how to work within Iran's censorship.
That doesn't mean you don't worry about it. There's a whole range of sensitivities you have to be aware of in Iran, political, social, and religious. I didn't write a political play, I wrote a social play. It's very much about society. The relevance of political plays is very short-lived. I wanted to write a play that will be relevant for years to come.
Hitler, alongside Charlie Chaplin. This is theatre with an edge. This surrealist play is showing at Tehran's Municipal Theatre. Behind this absurd facade, a reflection on Iran's internal machinery, the codes of a complex political and social order. Theatre here adapts to the world around it. And with France 24 in the audience, the troupe pays tribute to the people killed in France's November terror attacks.
We wanted to dedicate this performance to the victims of the mad, blind violence of the Paris attacks. The perpetrators may have wanted to set fear into the hearts of free men, but there are many more people across the world who are fighting for liberty. We are with you, and there are so many more of us. Long live France, long live freedom.
And it's not just inside the auditorium that theatre takes place. In Tehran's Bakferdos district, we stumble upon these young actors in full rehearsal. Their performance is called Shah Nami, the Book of Kings, from an epic 10th century poem.
If you want, they can act part of their story, Zahak and Kaveh. It's a very famous story in Shahnameh that it's against being selfish and being cruel, and they know the story in different languages. If you want, they can act.
Bonjour, le messager de la paix de l'amitié. The name of God, most gracious and most merciful. Indeed, he is your enemy, that he shall your passage.
خروشید و زد دست بر سر ز شاه که شاها منم کاوه دادخواه یکی بی زبان مرد آهنگرم ز شاها تا شاویت همی بر سرم.
Iran is a country full of paradoxes. In our next episode at the same time tomorrow, we explore the world of film with actor Peyman Moaddii, the star of Oscar-winning A Separation. And we catch a glimpse of one of the world's finest, if forgotten, collections of modern art.